Hi guys, today I'd like to tell you a story about when I first went to China. And some people might ask, you went all the way to China by yourself? Yeah, I went by myself, out of desperation actually. And it's a long story, but I'll try and keep it really short. I used to know this guy. I used to call him Lurch. His nickname was Lurch. He was an Indian guy. I think one of his parents was black and the other was Indian. And this guy is just crazy. Anyway, this guy conned me. He's like really, really weird, unbelievably weird. But the weird, those people who are really weird, the weirdest people. They don't take any medication or anything. They think they're normal. Anyway, this guy, I think he loved to kind of con people, and he used to giggle about it. And what he did is he conned me into going to China because he knew I had mental health problems and problems with my spine, with my neck, and various problems. And he said, "Oh yeah, I know a master. There's a Tai Chi master that he lives in a place called Dulan, in the mountains there." And he was conning me for months and months and months, telling me about this guy. And you see, I was so gullible, really, really gullible. All my life, from as a child, my teens, I was gullible. I believed a lot of people. It's easy to con me. There's two ways someone can con you: if you're greedy, and if you're gullible. I wasn't that greedy, just normal, but I was gullible, really gullible. And so what happened was, he knew that I needed help, and he said, "Oh yes, one of his friends trained with this guy," and maybe he was kind of mixing partly the truth, and he was making this big story, this lie about this guy. And he said, "Yes, a friend of mine contacted me, and he gave me the address of this guy in China. All you have to do is go to China. I'll give you the address, and you go and meet this guy, and he'll cure all your problems. He'll cure your depression, your neck problem, everything." And basically, he gave me some stories about this guy curing people of like serious illnesses. Just with his hand, he would put his hand and then some herbs or whatever, and then they were cured. And so, when you're desperate, then you'll do anything. And so it was I saved up money. It was a lot of money at that time. My parents helped me. Um, but they were I think rented some rooms in Italy. They had some money, and I said, "I want to go to China to see if I can get some help." And my parents gladly helped me, and I'm so grateful. So they gave me the money, and I got the train ticket because I'm afraid to go on a plane. I've been afraid for so many years to go on a plane. And I remember my dad saying, "Well, if your time is up, your time's up. You just go on the plane. If your time's up, it's up." And I said, "Yeah, what if it's I would say, what if it's the pilot's time up? Then I'm going down with him or whatever. No, I'm not going on a plane." And I, so basically, I took the Trans-Siberian all the way. I took the train all the way from London to Beijing. So it took 2 days to get to, what is it? Yeah, 2 days from London to Moscow, and then Moscow, you arrive in the morning, or at the time you arrive in the morning, and in the evening you take the connecting train from another train station for 6 days to um, Beijing. And that train journey is so nice. I've had some adventures on that train journey actually, so I'll leave that for another another video. Some good and some bad ones. Yeah, so it was a real adventure because it was the first time I actually left England. I've been to Italy before. Be quiet, 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 quiet. Sorry. Quiet. Be quiet. Be quiet. Oh, that naughty dog was jumping on the car. That's a big Labrador. He'll eat you for breakfast. Stop it now, okay? Be quiet. Be quiet. Stop it, okay? Stop it. Bloody hell. And these two are the weak ones. I can imagine if it was Bob and Dave and the other Jerry. Oh, they're terrible. I have to socialize these guys with other dogs. Thank God I got my windows closed. Yeah, but the dog actually jumped on the car. Naughty doggy. Well, anyway, I think they're a bit bad, but they're protecting their space as well. What's the dog doing, jumping on the car? Anyway, that's all right. Yeah, sorry. So I was saying that I went to China. I took the Trans-Siberian, and it was really scary for me. It's the first time I'd left Europe. I mean, apart from going to Italy, I haven't been anywhere. And on my own, it was like a massive. I thought it was a big risk, but I had to take that risk in order to go and see this old man, this master. And so anyway, I went to Beijing, and it was all new to me. It was like scary but cool at the same time. It was an adventure. I had enough money, so I thought, okay, money is important. I've got my passport, and I've got my medication because I was taking the Seroxat and omeprazole at the time. But I was only about four years in, or something like that, 4 or 5 years in. And so, okay, to cut a long story short, there was no guy, there was no master there. There was a guy who helped me, a guide, and I paid him. It was so cheap, it was dirt cheap. I paid maybe 50 renminbi. Was it 50 renminbi? Like £5 a day, something like that. £5 a day, which at the time was a lot for him, because our exchange rate was a lot. For £1 you can get 12 renminbi or 10 renminbi, and now it's like £1 to maybe 7 renminbi, or 7 or 8 or something. So the exchange rate was really good, so you can get more for your pound or for your dollar. And so there was no master, even though we looked for him. Yeah, so I was basically cheated and stuck there. So I lived in a place called near Dulan. I went to Dulan, but there was no one there. I tried another place called Tulan, and no foreigners were allowed there, no Westerners. So I didn't get in trouble, but the Chinese guy got in trouble. He said, "Oh, you mustn't bring foreigners here, the Westerners here." And the police, the head of police, who was nice, and he's just a guy in a small house, and he said, "Okay, you can go now." He'd never seen foreigners before. That was weird. And so, yeah, so I lived in a place called Xining. Xining is the nearest large town to that area, Dulan, my destination. And actually, I met, whilst I was staying there, I met not medicine man, a Tibetan traditional, not Chinese medicine, but traditional Tibetan Chinese medicine, or Tibetan medicine doctor. And he looked at me, he did, this one, checked my pulse and everything. And he gave me these balls. Be quiet, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet. My goodness, sorry about this. But anyway, they started again. I don't know if I'll cut this out. But okay, we better go. I don't know if I should cut that out. Well, anyway, sorry to. I want to keep this as authentic as possible and not do any cuts or anything. So I don't know whether I should leave it or because the sound is quite loud. It's quite sharp on the ears. So anyway, as I was saying, I met this medicine doctor, this Tibetan medicine doctor, and he gave me these little balls, these really bitter balls that I was supposed to take before I eat. They were disgusting, so disgusting, and I had to take them before each meal, 2 or 3 times a day, and that's it. And I didn't really feel. I didn't feel really good about the whole thing. I thought, I'm being conned again. So what happened was I took them and I actually started to feel better. I actually came off the Seroxat and I came off the omeprazole. I came off the antidepressant and I came off the, how do you call it? The acid reflux medication. And it actually worked. But I'm thinking, maybe it was because I was only 4 years in, so maybe it was easier to come off. Or maybe a combination of the actual medicine working and the fact that I was having a nice time talking to people. It was all an adventure, And so you tend not to get depressed when you're having an adventure and having a nice time. So, let me get back to you in a minute. This is a strange junction. There we go. Yeah, so it actually worked. I came off the medication, and so this guy that conned me, he actually did me a favor. But then what happened was, when I came back to London after a few months, maybe. So when I came back after a few weeks, my depression started again, and I felt so bad. And I was in the hands of our local council in Brent, and I went to Mind in Brent, and I saw a counsellor or therapist, I don't know what she was, and I was saying to her, I just feel so terrible, and I was crying. I was really crying. The depression just came back with a vengeance. Back in old gloomy London, and the area that we live in, Brent, is as gloomy as they get. Full of crime, bad people, ugly area. Some areas of London are nice, but there's always trouble, always. I don't know, it's such a big difference to the place that I'd just come from. I was on holiday, everything was nice. Anyway, yeah, so I fell into a deep depression, and I felt that, what's it called, somatization disorder, or basically I thought that I had cancer and I was dying, and I was explaining to this counselor, this therapist, I was really crying. And you know what her reply is? They're like robots, They're like no feeling at all. And I suppose then, I think they have to be, they have to be non-directive, don't they? It's not supposed to direct you or anything. So I was crying there and saying, I feel like I'm dying, I can't take it anymore, I don't know what's wrong with my brain. I was saying I was pouring my heart out. She said, oh, that must feel really terrible. It must be really terrible to live that way. And in that moment, I just realized, you know, I'm talking to myself. She doesn't care at all. It's just her job. And this is the script. This is what she's supposed to say. So I had no choice. I thought, what do I do? There's no one's going to help me. So I have to go to my GP and go back on the medication. And that's what I did. I went back on. But for a period of time, that's when I actually came off. You know, when I went to China, I actually came off my medication. And I came off it successfully for maybe it was a month or 6 weeks, maybe. It was great. I felt so like I've achieved so much that I actually was free, you know, free of drugs. Yeah, so I think it was the change of scenery. Maybe it was those little balls as well. But in 2004, I went to China again, and I went to see this medicine man. So that's another 4 years. So I'd been on medication for 8 years or so, something like that at the time. And I tried his medicine again. This time, my body rejected it like it was the plague, like it was some disease. Basically, what happened is I took the same. He did the same thing, and I took these black balls just before eating 3 times a day, and I had a terrible reaction. I rejected it from both ends. I was vomiting and I had diarrhea at the same time, and I was stuck in a dingy, like a little hotel room, and I was just trying to drink as much water as I could. I was in bed drinking water, and I was really in bad shape. So the same Tibetan medicine guy, the same medicine, and it didn't work. It was okay, all right then. Hello.
Gerald, can you go back, please?
Yeah.
Ask you go back this way.
Okay. I can't see behind me. That's the problem. Yeah, so that's the only time that I came off medication, and it felt really great to be free of medication. That's the only time in 30 years I could actually come off. I tried it again 4 years later with the same method. It didn't work. My body, I think, had changed. Maybe my brain had gotten used to it. I don't know what happened. That's my story. My first story about China and the success that I had, the only success in my life that I've had coming off medication. I've tried to replicate it, but it didn't work. So I just have to keep trying, I suppose. See you guys in the next video. Bye.
Shape up and